Well, hey there, friends. Welcome to Endless Night Gaming, a mostly girls, gays, and theys channel. I am Lizzie. These are my friends. We're playing Curse of the House of Rookwood. Let's go ahead and get started. Last time, the Rookwood family gathered under one roof, their voices a tangle of bickering and unease as they prepared for dinner. Stories of the family's past surfaced old wounds, grudges, unspoken debts. Before some set out into the night and others returned to the house's quiet corners. Amid it all, Elias received unsettling news. A forgotten script had been uncovered deep in the vaults of Rookwood Studios. And Penelope, restless and driven, vanished on a late night run for art supplies, chasing inspiration in the shadows. Now the estate stirs again. The walls of Rookwood Manor hold secrets close, each room a repository of voices long silenced and laughter that never fully died. The air hums with the weight of history pressing down unevenly on shoulders who carry it, willingly or not. Somewhere beyond the sprawling grounds, the distant hum of the city leaks in, far enough to be a ghost, too faint to intrude, but it reminds you that the world beyond still turns, indifferent to bloodlines and curses. Inside the great house, the day is not just a passage of hours, but a current pulling each one of you toward what must come next. Some move through familiar halls with practiced ease, while others navigate the subtle fractures that have settled between them. No one is idle. Plans, errands, whispered conversations, the quiet undercurrent before a storm ripple through the rooms and corridors. Meanwhile, miles away in the cold vaults of Rookwood Studios, a script, lost and dusted off after years in shadow, waits for its audience. A relic from a time when ambition and madness danced hand in hand. Its pages crackle with secrets itching to be spoken aloud again. Some of you head there now, maybe, unaware how deeply the past is ready to claim the present. The day unfolds, fragile and tense, like a held breath before the plunge. Something is shifting beneath the surface, and the house, with all its weight and memory, listens. Stevie, where can we find you right now?
So Stevie and Sybil were planning to head out to a book signing, but someone called in a bomb threat at the venue, and the event has been canceled. So now Stevie is heading to her agent's office to talk about her new contract.
Okay. Stevie, what's one small detail in your surroundings right now that you can't help but fixate on?
Mm, I think it's a vase that she brought with her, a family relic from her grandmother passed down, which seems to have a crack in it now. And she's just wondering how that happened because she takes really good care of it. And this is, you know, heartbreaking for her because it's a really important part of her family.
Thank you. Miranda, where can we find you?
I am. I think I'm upstairs. I think there's a gallery upstairs that I've sort of co-opted as my office is the wrong word, um, but it's usually where I try to bring people if I bring over to entertain. But right now I am on the phone and I'm pacing back and forth the cord of the phone because we're still in the 90s, so the cord of the phone is just flapping back and forth. Um, you can see that my hair is twitching almost in just random directions from my clear agitation. And I'm just like, you hear me say, Erwin, Erwin, I know. Look, I'm really, really sorry that I threw a chair at you, and I understand, but you need me. You need me. I Nothing can go on without me, and you know that. All I'm saying is, you don't even have to say you're sorry. I will be back as soon as you say the word.
Miranda, you notice something that feels slightly off about the space around you. What is it?
There are several less works of art. There used to be like a couple of vases, a couple like, very expensive, like dad always did the weird like suits of armor thing, right? And like a couple of those have just like gone missing. The spaces where they were are still there, but there's nothing there. Um, and I think I notice it as I'm pacing, and I just stop talking. The phone kind of like still there, and I go, "Oh yeah, no, 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 absolutely. Listen, absolutely. Just tell me when to be there, and I'll make it. I promise you, it won't happen for a third time."
Excellent. Penelope, where can we find you?
I have already started cleaning out what is now going to be my studio. I am going through boxes and trashing stuff and getting cobwebs out of the corners.
Penelope, your eyes fall on a work in progress or an object nearby. What do you see that stirs an unexpected feeling?
It's obviously some sort of manuscript of some sort, like a maybe like a letter or I'm not sure what it is. It's several pages long, but the top page looks like it was probably the last page and it's not finished. The sentence is stopped midway through.
What does it cause you to feel?
I feel instant curiosity, but also apprehension. Like there's something deep inside that's like holding me back, keeping me from moving forward. Something is telling me I need to mind my business.
Interesting. Thank you. Elias, where are you headed after breakfast? Oh, you are muted. Sorry. Oh, we cannot hear you.
Hello?
There you are.
There we are. Strange. Yeah. I am probably heading directly to the movie studio, as I believe that's what I said at the end of the last session, is that I'm on my way there.
Okay. And on your journey to the studio, something unusual has caught your attention. What is it?
I believe it would be somebody at the studio that probably worked on the set the day of my brother's accident, and it kind of feels like an omen to me as I wander into the studio and catch someone who I swore I had fired and is somehow back there.
Okay. Let's circle back around then. Stevie said you were heading to your agent's office. Tell me about your agent.
This is someone I've known for maybe 10 years now. Uh, one of my closest friends since we started working together, and I trust them implicitly.
What is their name?
Sorry?
What is their name?
Um, Bradley.
Bradley?
Mhm.
Okay. So you arrive at Bradley's office, go up the few stairs to the door, and step inside, and you're met with his receptionist, Mallory. And she looks up and she greets you. Oh, Mrs. Rookwood.
Hi, how are you?
Oh, we weren't expecting you today.
Oh, I spoke to Bradley a few days ago. Is this a bad time? Is he in a meeting?
Oh, no, he should be available. You can go right in, of course.
Okay, thank you. I will go in.
Okay. You step through the door and you find Bradley seated behind an exceptionally large desk, like far too large for the space, with papers and files just strewn across the desktop. And he stands up as you enter and quickly buttons his jacket and looks like he's smoothing out the wrinkles of a suit that he's been wearing for entirely too many days. And he says, "Oh, Stevie, darling, I wasn't expecting you today."
Hey, I'm sorry to come unannounced. I probably should have called first. Is everything okay? Like, are you working on something important? I can come again
Oh, no, of
later.
course, always time for you. Please come sit. Let's talk about your book. Your next one. You are still writing it, aren't you? Maybe something a bit more commercial this time?
In bursts and pieces. It's been, you know, you know how things are at home. It's not easy. It's not the most conducive environment for the creative process.
Ah, yes, it is sort of a big name to be carrying around with you. Of course, you could always use it to your advantage as well.
That is true. I wanted to go over the contract though. Uh, I thought we were gonna sign a new one, but if it's not ready, I just
Oh.
feel like, everything feels, I'm just maybe being a little sensitive, but it feels like you're, busy with something else, and
Oh,
I
no,
just want
of
to
course not.
impose.
Of course not, Stevie. Your contract, though, we renewed just a couple of weeks ago. And he reaches into a filing cabinet and rifles through a few papers, and he pulls one out and slides it across the table to you. And he goes, "Yes, we even renegotiated
Oh.
the terms."
I'm sorry, I'm so embarrassed. I think I must have forgotten. I've been having this thing where I just, there are gaps in my memory. I don't always remember everything that's happened. And I just, you know, have just these missing puzzle pieces that just I don't know what's going on.
There is a lot to keep track of, I'm sure, with a family like that. But, you could always write what you know. Imagine putting that name on a cover. Just think of it, the heiress of Rookwood Studios speaks, something along those lines.
That just sounds so gauche to me, though, to use your name that way.
Oh, but public
I don't want
interest.
people to buy my books but I don't want people to buy the book because of the name. I want them to buy them because they like what's in it.
Well, of course, but of course the public would love everything in it. The interest in the family is very high right now. You could leverage that, strike while the iron is hot. All of those tantrums making the front pages, controversial art shows, come on.
You think something like that would sell?
I mean, certain parties have expressed interest, and there's been some concern that you might not be fully focused on your work right now.
Who's been saying that?
There's just discreet parties. Wouldn't mind the possibility of a more intimate look at the Rookwood legacy. Or maybe
We
we can
have been
shift
thinking.
genres. True crime, memoirs. But frankly, it would write itself, wouldn't it? A family like yours, money, mystery,
Oh, man.
tragedy,
The stories I could tell.
and you should.
So, let me think this over. I'll get back to you. Sorry for this whole confusion. Um, Memory is
course,
not what
do
it
you-
used to be.
Do you
Getting on
need
in
another
here.
copy of it for your records?
Yeah, I think I'll take one.
I'm sure that she can help you on your way out.
Thank you. And let's, have dinner or something. Catch up.
I would love
Feels
that.
like it's been ages
It has
since
been
we've hung out.
ages. How about Friday?
Put it on my calendar.
Perfect.
See you then.
See you then. He stands up again and holds the door open for you as you head out and back through the lobby to the door.
Yes. And I just say to Mallory that, could you have a copy of the contract sent to my house, please? I think I must have misplaced the other one.
Of course, Miss Rookwood. I'll have it couriered over this afternoon.
Thank you. I'll head out.
Okay. Miranda, back to your phone call with your agent, Erwin. How is your conversation going at the moment?
I think she's probably. I mean, Miranda doesn't beg,
No.
but she's getting a little more desperate sounding. I think at one point as she walks by, her hair will snag like something expensive and just fling it across the room. And she'll just be like, "Look, maybe you just need time to think on it. Of course, I understand. It's sensitive right now, but I'm sure I'll hear from you in a couple days, dear."
There's a response from the other end, mumbled apologies and a bit of a brush off with a little bit of deference in it. And you're just hanging up the phone with Erwin when the sharp ring of the doorbell echoes through the house.
I think she jumps. She is like genuinely so frustrated that she just like jumps and she says, "Who the hell is that?" Walks up, opens the door of the gallery. "Someone get that!" Slams the door shut. Waits to see if somebody actually gets it.
You do hear, after just a second, you hear very hurried footsteps going down the staircase, and you hear the door creak and some muffled conversation, and it's a moment before there's a knock on your door, and it opens, and it's just one of the little page boys that runs around the estate, and he says, "There's a Miss Brookwood. There's a lady at the door for you from the studio."
Oh, yes, of course. I'll be down there shortly. Just yes.
And he does
and I
like
take a minute to like adjust myself, make sure my hair is like looking better, and look at myself in a mirror, kind of grimace. Like there's still last night's hangover is still clearly there. So as I walk by, I'll like grab a pair of sunglasses, even though it's clearly dark in the house, and make my way down the stairs and. So yes, I'm sorry, I'm coming as I walk down the stairs.
The little page boy kind of jumps out of the way as the door flies open, and you walk past him and down the stairs into the foyer where there's a young woman in kind of a gray wool suit, and you recognize her as Camille from the studio. She's professional, polished, holding a clipboard, and her smile is way too rehearsed. And she lights up as she sees you, and she's very confident in her speaking. And she goes, "Oh, Miss Rookwood, I'm not sure if you remember me, Camille from the casting department on the new project. You were just perfect in the audition. The director cannot stop talking about you."
That is so wonderful to hear, darling. How are you?
Oh, I'm just fine, Miss Rookwood. Of course, I was just coming by to formally offer you the part. Of course, you've had it since the beginning. This is merely a formality, and I was bringing the contract by for you to look over.
Of course, of course. Um, Sit down, sit down. Let's take a look at it. Is there anything that we can get you while you're here?
Oh, no, of course not.
Wonderful. And she'll start looking over the contract as soon as it's handed to her.
Okay, yeah, it is a fairly typical contract. You've seen a million of them at this point. This is referencing a TBA title, a new project that your studio is working on. It quotes a ridiculous amount of money, almost double what you normally ask for.
Yeah, and despite the fact that she seems very careless a lot of the time, as she's going through this, she is extremely like picking out every little point of it to the point where Camille is probably not expecting her to read the whole thing, but she is. Taking, moving her sunglasses up far enough to just be able to see it. And she gets to um, the salary and she goes, "This is the correct salary. This is what they're offering."
Of course, only the best for the best.
Hmm. I appreciate this. Thank you very much. And she signs the contract.
Excellent. Well, we begin filming next month. We'll have our people reach out with dates and times, of course.
That is wonderful, darling. I cannot wait.
Absolutely wonderful. And she leans in a bit, her voice lowers, and she goes, "You'll hear from us soon." And
Perfect,
she
darling.
makes her way to the door.
And I think from this point on, anyone during the day finds Miranda and just like this absolutely perfect, like they can hear her like singing as she's like going through the house at this point. Like total switch of personality all of a sudden.
Very good. Let's go over to Penelope. How's your studio coming together?
It's coming well. I've gotten most of the trash out. I've moved quite a bit of the, furniture that I bought in my late night shopping spree in, and I've gotten, my desk set up. I've gotten my multiple easels set up, my pottery wheels. But I've held on to those papers that I found. I stuck them in my drawer of my desk, and I really can't stop thinking about them no matter what I do. So I am trying everything in my power to get those out of my head.
What is it about it that's setting you off so much?
The way it makes me feel, because I've never had anything that drew me in, but also made me feel so apprehensive at the same time.
Excellent. You're going through your older paintings now, unpacking them to set them up in this new space. And one of your older works catches your eye. You haven't touched it in years. It's a portrait of a woman veiled in this shadow that it was once sort of abstract and impressionistic, and you remember this piece, but the eyes have changed. Something's different. Once indistinct, they're now sharply defined. And as it catches your attention, as you periodically glance at it, as you're moving about this space and making it your own, the eyes almost seem to follow you about the space. Maybe it's just an optical illusion, but you know that you did not design it that way.
Yeah, the eyes remind me a lot of eyes that I've seen in my dreams. I used to have dreams of a man and a woman, and they had similar eyes. I didn't know whose eyes they were because they weren't my mother's, and that's really the only family that I've ever known. Um, and so I've always had a thing about painting eyes. It's a thing for me. They're very symbolic, and the eyes that I've painted on this, I very, very much remember painting these shadowed, almost gray, dark gray blue eyes, sad, very much in the darkness, veiled eyes. And that is not what exists in this painting as I am unpacking it. They are very much very realistic, very sharp, very detailed, almost fluorescent eyes that exist on this painting, and I know that's not how I painted them.
No, absolutely not. And you find yourself almost getting lost in it. You occasionally discover that you have stopped in your movements and you're simply staring at this painting, and it almost seems to change as you're looking at a doorway in the background. Swear that door was closed the last time you looked at it.
Yeah, there's little things happening around, and I've noticed that the doorways are changing sizes, and now they're changing in just the way that they are existing. First, the door is, an open closed on a hinge, and then it turns into a pocket door. Or the door I went in, I shut, and now it's not shut, it's open, it's fully ajar. And there's no one in here with me. I am by myself. Sybil's not here. The only person that volunteered to possibly help me isn't here. I'm by myself.
It breaks through the silence, the quick chirp of your phone that you weren't quite expecting. It breaks and sounds unnatural in this space of softness. It sounds like it grates against your ears, and you take a look at it, and you've received an email from someone named Miriam at the Caro Art Collective. And it says, "Dear Miss Rookwood, a private client has expressed great interest in commissioning a new piece from you. They are particularly drawn to the more evocative elements present in your recent series. The patron requests a large canvas, entirely at your discretion, but inspired by ancestral themes. They are prepared to offer a significant sum pending your agreement. Discretion is, of course, assumed. If you are amenable, please reply to arrange a preliminary discussion." And you're forwarded a lot of contact information for this Miriam Caro at the Caro Art Collective.
I stare at my phone in a state of shock, not only because too many weird things and startled from my fear. And then I have waited for an opportunity that comes with the word discretion for a while. Um, I've waited for an opportunity to find my high end clientele. I've known that my art would sell in those spaces. It was just finding my, way in to those spaces. So I'm taken aback. I don't have the ability to really formulate how I feel or what I think or even a response at this point. I'm just in awe, but I quickly save all of the contact information that I can.
Very nice. Elias. Rookwood Studios is a thriving, prestigious facility, a sprawling complex of sleek sound stages and glass walled offices and high security archival vaults. Everything hums with quiet efficiency, from the polished floors to the minimalist modern lighting. The studio lot is busy but orderly. Golf carts pass by, crew members speak in hushed tones. The air smells like coffee and fresh paint and ozone from the high end equipment. You arrive at the studio with your assistant, who quickly jumps out of the car and runs around to open the door for you before you step out onto the pavement. Where are you headed?
I'm heading towards the archives. I imagine that's where they would like to meet, especially if it's high security. With something like this, I imagine they don't want it getting out to quite everybody. Which kind of makes me kind of regret telling my family about it if I want to keep it a secret.
That is definitely not the way to keep a secret. All right. You head to the archives wing, a climate controlled space that maintains this crisp, sterile sort of atmosphere. It's bright, but not quite harsh, and there are rows of meticulously labeled shelves and temperature sealed drawers. You meet with Marjorie, the senior archivist. She's in her mid 50s, sharp gray eyes, and she's wailing. Bleh, I can't talk today. She is wearing like a tail of blah words. She's wearing a tailored charcoal blazer. I had a really rough time with that one, over a soft knit turtleneck. And she carries the authority of someone who knows where everything is in the studio, and she greets you with a quiet, Mr. Rookwood, thanks for coming. You're going to want to see this. And she leads
Yes,
you
of
deeper
course.
into the restricted archives. You follow her back?
Yes, I do.
Okay, she pulls open a drawer that normally contains blueprints, but she pulls out a small, fragile looking package that's wrapped in black ribbon. Its fibers are brittle and it's all tied in a bow. It's too perfect to not be completely intentional. And Marjorie, she hands it to you and she goes, we found it during the renovation under Soundstage 3. Her voice is really dropped, even though the room is empty. And she goes, it was behind a sealed panel. There was no barcode, no filing system number. It's not in any of our systems at all.
Hey, well, all I care about is if it's good. Let's get this running. I want to see this immediately.
All right, you pull it open and it's full of aged paper with curling edges and ink faded to the color of dried leaves. It doesn't
Jesus Christ.
belong in a place this modern.
Who wrote this? Our grandfather? Jesus Christ, what is this? Is this a joke?
Well, and she turns the front page, which is blank, except for a single name scrawled in a corner in looping, unmistakable handwriting as Elias Rookwood.
I wrote this?
I
I don't remember writing that.
Marjorie leans in. She goes, well, I think it was your grandfather, sir.
That's right. Sorry. Long night out with my sister. Yeah, so, has anyone else seen this? Who's seen this?
No, just me, and I told your assistant about it, but he has not seen it. So no one yet, but it has been transcribed for copies already.
And who did that?
We're not
Just you?
entirely sure. It just appeared as a file on the technician's computer.
And when was that file created? I mean, if there's a file, there's got to be like a trail, right? I mean, I'm not too hip with computers, but
I'm afraid
no one
that's-
did put it there.
That's beyond me, Mr. Rookwood. I'm sorry. I don't know anything about those new newfangled machines prefer my card catalog.
Sure. So, I mean, I guess I'll take a look at this. Elias will start like reading through it, and what does Elias see when I get past the first page?
The paper itself gives off a sort of odd sensation, not cold exactly, but charged. It feels like brushing against an old TV screen that's been left on for too long. Hair prickling, subtle, but kind of unmistakable. As you flip through it, Marjorie, she watches you without moving closer, and she goes, I'm glad you're reading it. I have no interest in doing so again. And you stand there and you page through this script, and it is brilliant. It is one of the most incredible works that you have ever come across. And as soon as you put it down, you realize you can't remember a word of what you just read.
I gotta stop hanging out. Oh my god. Listen, I'm gonna need you to read this and just give me the spark notes. I think I'm hungover because I could barely fucking read that thing.
I can have the file sent to you, or the
Perfect. Sounds
transcribe.
good. You
Oh,
know,
great.
I think this was good. Whatever this is, I think we need to make it.
I think that there was discussion about a new project, but I don't know anything. Again, I just work in the archives.
Great. That's great, isn't it? Yeah, we need a new movie.
Okay.
All right. Well, thank you so much for bringing this to my attention. I hope you have a good rest of your day. Bye-bye now.
Thanks. She sort of spins around, and you see her putting the papers back together, awkwardly watching you out of the corner of her eye as you leave the room.
Yeah, I mean, Elias isn't really thinking about how she feels right now at all. He's stepping on her words and just like sees dollar bills instead of a problem, you know. I imagine he's a little deluded, thinks that this is totally a normal thing because it's a means to an end. You know, I imagine there are some suspicions in Elias's head, but they're completely drowned out by the sound, by the thought of the overdue bills for the estate.
Okay. Where are you headed after you leave the archives?
I am probably going to head back to the home and take a nap because if I convince myself I'm hungover, it is time for a little R&R that I definitely didn't deserve.
Stevie, were you headed anywhere before you went back to the house as well?
No, I think I'm headed home.
Okay. We all reconvene back at the house. How would you all like to spend your afternoon?
I'm spending my afternoon. I'm probably going to go into the kitchen to grab some lunch and then head right back into the studio.
I imagine you probably actually meet Miranda
I think
in the kitchen.
I'm going to go to my room and think about this a little bit. The fact that I'd completely forgotten signing a contract a few weeks ago is still really jarring to me, that, you know, that whole part of my memory is missing. So she's going to sit and think about how that happened.
Okay. Miranda, you said you were running into Penelope.
Yeah, probably in the kitchen. I think she's
Okay.
working on her very typical hangover cure. But she's very like,
I actually
as you
can't
come into the
see
kitchen,
Miranda
she's super
on
happy.
my screen at all. Is that happening for anyone else?
Oh, no, I think it's just you. Will you refresh
That's happened
your
before. I
browser?
refresh. That's why my mic.
Yeah. Okay.
It's annoying, but this sometimes happens.
Yeah, give it a refresh on your browser. It should come right back up.
Yeah, it's because that happened to me earlier with Nita, and then I
Yeah,
couldn't hear her either.
That's okay. We got it. Do we have you back, friend?
Mhm.
Yay.
She sees
Everyone now.
Penelope and she goes, Penelope, dear, how are you today? Um, I I'm making a sandwich. Would you like something to eat? I don't mind. I'm in the middle of working on it myself.
Is everything okay?
Everything is amazing, dear. The studio completely and totally realized exactly what they have in me. And starting next month, I have a brand new project.
At this point, I grab a plate and I just start making my own sandwich alongside Miranda. So, what's the catch?
I don't think there is a catch. I mean, the salary is honestly a lot more than I thought it would be, but I mean, of course, that's what my talent gets. So
Have
I
you read
told
the
you,
script?
all publicity is good publicity. So even when, there's a little hitch in it and maybe I lose my temper a little bit, it builds the mystery, the mystique.
Do you know what part you're playing?
I mean, it's not a like the top build part. I'm like in the friend of the lead actress, but it's a very good emotional part. I'll be able to show that I have a large emotional range.
I think we know you have a large emotional range, as far as you can throw a chair.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
You're welcome.
And what about you, dear? What have you been up to? How has your day gone?
Well, I've just been cleaning up the studio. I There were like boxes of things that still had price tags on them, but they were like rags, true rags. I don't know. I don't know what these people kept back here and why they kept so many things. But yeah, I cleaned out all the cobwebs. I've gotten all the big stuff unpacked. So,
Well,
I think I'm going to make some art.
you know that space was your father's space, right? That's where he kept all of his stuff. And after he his unfortunate accident, we moved a lot of stuff we didn't know what to do with there as well. So
I think this family has more stuff than any family will ever need.
that's probably
But I
very
was able. I do have a question. You said that that was my father's things, correct?
yeah. Most of what was in there, I'm assuming, unless somebody's moved it around.
Okay, that makes sense because I seen some like men's clothing and stuff in some boxes and like some luggage tags and stuff like that. So that makes sense, and I just wanted to make sure that anything that I found in there might belong to him.
Yeah. Well, we didn't want anyone unsavory, rifling through his things. So I'm glad that you have found them. Maybe I hope that you find some connection through all of that.
Yeah, it'll be nice to spend some time where I know that he spent some time. Hopefully, I will feel him more.
She puts a very like awkward hand on your shoulder, and she says, "Well, just remember that despite what anyone says, you really, truly are a part of this family."
Thanks, Miranda.
And then she just kind of spins off and goes about her way. You can hear her like humming as she goes down the hall. It's ridiculous.
I can only imagine that Miranda's joyfulness over something that I just feel like that something bad is afoot here, and that just pisses me off because like how is this family so naive?
Completely clueless. She is completely clueless.
Miranda goes off down the corridor, and Penelope, you turn, sandwich in hand, to head back to your newly reclaimed studio space. And right when you turn, you hear a crash from behind you and spin to look and see what it was. And you find fragments of black plastic and shards of glass shattered on the floor to the right in front of the doorway that leads to the hallway that Miranda has just made her way down. Not quite sure where it came from, what it was, but there's definitely something broken here now.
My immediate reaction is that Miranda and all of her mood swings have found a reason to be angry in the 30 seconds it has taken me to move from the counter where I was making my sandwich to exiting the kitchen and has now thrown something down the hallway in a fit of anger. So my first reaction is to yell, Miranda, what's wrong?
Do I hear her?
Yeah.
I'll turn around from. I've already gone through like a door, and I pop my head out to a doorway, and I say, uh, "Nothing's wrong. Are you okay? Is everything fine?"
You didn't hear that crash? You didn't throw something down the hallway?
She points to some headphones in her ears. No, dear, I was listening to. I've already recorded myself doing the part. I'm just listening to it.
You didn't you didn't throw anything at all.
No, why would I throw things? That would seem very out of character for me. Really, it would.
Oh, okay. Okay. All right. So I go and I start trying to investigate what even broke. Where did it come from? Because there's nothing missing from the walls that I can tell.
No, you don't see where it could have fallen from. Nothing's out of place.
So I go to find the hand duster and pan to try to start sweeping it up, and as I'm sweeping it up, I'm trying to piece together what these could be pieces of, but as I'm looking at them in the dustpan, they're not I'm not able to formulate the puzzle. I don't understand what this is that has broken, but I know that it broke and I know that it wasn't me.
Sweeps up plastic, glass. Looks like shards of a light bulb in there. There's like a clamp. It's still in decent shape, although bent and battered. That cleans
I
up
think
easily enough.
I take the dustpan to Miranda and I just, tap as she is spinning around dancing to listening to herself on her Walkman. I tap her on her shoulder and I say, "Do you know what this could be?"
She jumps clear out of her skin, pulls it. Penelope, you are going to exceed my medications. Why are you showing me trash?
I'm not showing you trash. I just want to know if you know what this could be a part of.
Do I have any clue? Can I make a roll to see?
Yes, let's do some rolls. How would you like to roll? Tell me.
I would like to roll one guile die,
Okay.
I think.
Okay, so just a standard effort.
Yeah, I'm not
All
putting too much
right.
I rolled a 6.
A 6. Very, very nice. You've seen a shattered spotlight here and there. This is definitely the entire casing, though. It's very much hasn't like just blown a bulb where glass has fallen out. This is the entire housing.
Her entire face pales completely. And she backs like 4 steps away and she goes, "Where did you get that?"
Remember when I just asked you if you had thrown something down the hallway? It's because I heard some as I was leaving the kitchen, finished making my sandwich. I was going back to the studio, and something shattered. That's why I thought you threw something down the hallway. So I started cleaning it up, and I was trying to make sense of what it is, and it looks like parts to something, but I can't figure out what it is.
Penelope, this is a really, terrible joke if it's a joke. Not a funny prank.
Miranda, I'm not joking.
Someone someone is here and someone is it's not funny. It's not funny. If I find out who it is. And she kind of turns around and she goes, "Okay, show yourselves if you're here because this is not funny and you know it's not funny.
Miranda, who are you talking to?
Somebody else has got to be here. If it's not you, then somebody. Why would they put that there?
What is it?
It's a spotlight from a set. You know." She stops herself and she's like, "Maybe you don't know. That is the same exact thing that killed your father. He
At
died
that
because
point,
the
I drop it.
spotlight fell onto the stage and he was directly under it. So you know who probably did this. You know who's probably responsible. That where is that bitch?" And she storms towards Stevie's room. Just doesn't even knock, slings the door open.
Well, Stevie, you've been in your room for a bit now. What has been running through your head as you have been passing the time before you're forced to interact with this family again?
I've just been thinking about, what other instances there could be where I've forgotten something that happened. And part of me is wondering if Reggie's death could have been my fault, the way everyone keeps saying, and I just have, like, that's just been, I just don't remember it.
And Miranda
I'm just
slams the
sitting there
door open.
smoking.
Excuse
you, do you knock?
I knew you were cold, and I just didn't know you were this heartless. How dare you?
What are you talking about? Please, let's not start with your theatrics. Just calm down and tell me what is wrong.
Throwing shattered spotlights around the house? Trying to
Why
scare
would I
people?
do that?
Is
Why
this
would I
a
do
threat?
that?
Are you threatening me? Are you threatening Penelope?
About what? I've just been in my room. I've had a really weird day. I don't have time to go around threatening people or playing whatever jokes on you.
Then where did it come from?
What happened?
She just walks out of the room for a second, leaving, I'm assuming Penelope followed. Just like leaving Penelope in the doorway, she just walks out. I need a drink, I'll be right back. And storms past both of them towards wherever the nearest bar is. I imagine there's multiple in the house.
Absolutely easy enough to find. And you are walking right past the front door when Elias, you step through and see your sister storming past.
Bar's in the fridge, sis. Bar is in the globe. I say bar is in the globe.
If she's responsible for this, I want her out of here. Out of here now. She doesn't even explain. She just goes straight to the bar.
Listen, as much as it pains me, she's still putting bread on the table, so I might need you to get out of here. Just for a little bit. And I started pulling out. I'm like, how much would it take you to just leave right now? I pull out my wallet.
Who are you asking this?
The person that wants to
Stevie?
leave. Yes.
Oh, well, you have to. Miranda has gone past, and you'll have to make your way upstairs. In the meantime, Penelope.
Yeah, I'll go upstairs then.
Penelope and Stevie, what were you doing after Miranda storms downstairs?
I would ask Penelope, are you going to tell me what happened? Your aunt just randomly barged into my room and raged at me for no reason. She wasn't speaking in complete sentences.
I have no idea what the hell is going on, actually. I You people stress me out and I just storm away cuz I'm confused. I'm confused. So I don't know either, Stevie. I don't know either, but I am choosing not to figure it out with you, friend.
Okay, fair. I think it would be fun if these were the things I would forget instead of, signing a contract.
Eliza, it is about this time you step into the room where Penelope and Stevie are currently ensconced. That's a good word.
Hey, gang, what's going on?
Do you know what Miranda's storming around for?
Probably looking for another drink. It's past 4 o'clock, isn't it?
She just came in here and told me I'd done something and threatened her somehow.
Well, did you do something?
No, I've been out of her hair all day. I've been in my room. She came in without knocking and said, "Was that a threat? Was that a threat?"
Well, I mean, you know how actors get. Sometimes they just need to cool off and pay people the fuck off. So, was that you that she wanted to leave? By the way, she was shouting. So, do you think that might be you?
It's always me. You know that, Elias. It's always me.
It's true. But how about I pay you the fuck off? Does that sound good? And I give you this little look.
Did you
Like,
just come
please.
into some money? Throwing around money? Did you win the lottery or something?
Well, I might as well have. Folks, we've got another movie on our hand.
What?
Now, I read the script and
What's
it's
this
really,
one?
really good.
What's it called? What's it about?
We're still working on that title, but it looks like it was written by the other Elias in our family, Grandpa. Pretty old school. Maybe we make a comeback with, maybe this new Hollywood stuff isn't really working out, and maybe we've hit a gold mine of like a classic tale. We can advertise it like that.
Where did it come from, though? I mean, it sounds weird that nobody
Who cares
discovered
where
this
it came from?
really old manuscript.
Listen, it was found in his. And I hesitate, and I wonder if I should tell them the truth. Do they believe me if I would tell them that they found it in an old case in the archives? I don't want to bring up that it was found in a secret compartment.
Can bring it up however you want to bring it up.
Yeah, I tell them they found it in the archives, way in one of the oldest sections of the archives that had just never really been released, and it didn't have a title. But we think we might have a hit. And I've already told them to start working on production and start casting and all that nonsense.
But what's the story? Like, does it sound like it's worth it? Or is it just that it has the Rookwood family name?
I think it's worth it. It's got action, it's got romance, and you can kind of tell that I'm just bullshitting right at this point. Giving it the old Hollywood producer spin. Clearly haven't read it. Clearly don't know anything about it, but I know it's a hit.
Well, anything that helps us make money. My agent, by the way, has been suggesting that I should write a memoir. And I'm seriously considering it. I mean, I don't know why I was not doing it before.
Right? Yeah. Oh, you got a lot to say. Sure.
Okay, I see you lost interest in my story.
Yeah, but that's great. I think memoir. Great. Yeah, that's what I gotta get going. I think a big movie production guy. We're back.
See you.
We're
Bye.
back. And I walk out of the room.
Good luck with that.
Pipping my step.
All right, you head on back out of the room into the main body of the house. I think that is a great time for us to take our break. So we'll be back in 10 minutes. Don't go anywhere. We'll see you in a few.
Woohoo.
We are back. I'm excited. Let us jump right back in with the family reconvening in Rookwood Manor. What would you all like to do as the clock strikes 5 tonight?
I suggest we have dinner together because everybody's in a good mood, so might as well celebrate.
I suggested the crew the same idea, but louder.
Miranda has locked herself in her room, so to get her out from dinner is probably going to require some careful cajoling.
What would you all like to do the three of you? I'll let you pick up as whoever is proposing dinner.
Elias is the loudest, so seems we followed his lead anyway.
I feel like we're a kind of family that goes to the same kind of dinner place to kind of make the scene. So I suggest the same restaurant we always go to, and I imagine it's not a popular idea. What do you guys think?
Ladies?
I think Stevie's open to it.
I guess.
You know what? Let's try something different, and then I think I'll recommend like something kind of like quieter and obscure. I'm like, you know what? I don't want people to kind of know about this quite yet. It's a little bit of a secret, and seeing us be a functional family for once might raise a little bit of concern. It might. You know, good news travels. Good news travels quick in this town, and I don't know if I'm ready for us to get thrown back into the limelight with a new project from the legendary Elias Rookwood, of whom I share my namesake. So I'd recommend like a sushi place instead of like that surf and turf steak and lobster joint that we usually go to.
For something you want to keep a secret, you sure keep talking about it a lot. If you want it to remain a secret, maybe don't talk about it.
I would definitely snap at you and kind of drop my facade. I'm like, we haven't left the fucking building. I think I could talk to my own family.
Well, I was just suggesting that you practice before we head out.
I suggest you practice your memoir, and then writing for your memoir.
This is going in the memoir.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm sure. #1 bestseller.
Elias, are you gonna go get Miranda?
Yeah, I go into her room and I like, hey sis.
The door is closed and locked.
I knock on the door. Miranda, sushi.
You're muted, babe.
Am I going to get a light dropped on my head when we're out?
No, but you can powder your nose.
Look. I don't know why the rest of you aren't upset about this. It's clearly a threat.
And then can I make a roll?
What are you trying to do?
So I want to like try to like relate to. I think, would this be weird? Because I want to like bring up a little bit more of the secrecy behind this script that I found, and kind of try to wrap my head around it and the light thing with Miranda. Would that be a roll for weird? And how do I do a
Let's
roll?
see. Maeve, I don't have my book pulled up at the moment. I know you know this game inside and out. Weird requires you to use your power, does it not?
Yes, a weird roll requires you to use your powers.
Oh, that's right.
Guile might be.
Guile might be able to work for you as well, too.
And you can roll 1 or 2 dice.
Mm-hmm.
The trick is if you roll 2 dice and you roll doubles, then you could lose the dice.
Yep.
What size die?
You get a mark.
It's 6-sided.
Yeah, so there's always 6.
Okay.
But you can roll. You can pick from any stat. So if you
Yeah.
only have one in guile, you can pick from another stat, or you can roll both of them from guile if you have two in guile.
I've got 3 in guile.
Okay.
So that means I can roll
So
3
3
dice
is
and
an
pick.
extraordinary
only-
effort. 2 is the most you can use.
Okay.
So roll it and let
So-
me know what they are. We don't have our
There
roller
are
set up yet.
a 5 and a 4.
A 5 and a 4. Excellent. And you're just trying to do what with this here?
I'm trying to convince my sister to come out, and that weird coincidences like this happen all the
Okay.
time, and just kind of show like this. I think what's happening here is we're blaming ourselves, and I kind of try to like veer the conversation away from the accident because of my feelings about it.
Yeah, I don't even think you've heard about this most recent accident or why Miranda is so upset yet.
Oh, I heard a little bit. I imagine that we talked about because I heard it was a light from Stevie that like, and that it was like a threat, and I kind of feel like Elias, anytime he hears like spotlight, is gonna put piece 2 and 2 together. You know, that's very like spotlight is a very sensitive like key word in this family. And so I said, you know, I'm not sure, but I think maybe you had a weird, spooky day like I did too. You know, I got to the studio, and apparently, shortly after the incident, they found the script hidden in a secret compartment that our brother had created. I don't know, maybe him. We're not sure, but it was written by grandfather, and you know how weird that man was. But sometimes you gotta look at some parts of the day as a silver lining in an otherwise dark time in this family's life. So maybe that spotlight was made by Penelope or whatever her name is. Blame Stevie or Penelope when we just need to kind of start looking at the bright side of what's going on right now. Hey, maybe it's a positive thing.
She gives Elias a look. Actually pulls her head up off of her. You know, she's like flung herself into a pillow. She pulls her head up and she goes, and I just got a contract with way more. And I'll be honest, I don't even remember actually auditioning for that part.
You don't remember most nights. Why is this family so concerned with all this good news we've been getting?
Elias, I will meet you all at dinner. I've got something I've got to do. And she goes to her boudoir and she pulls out a hairpin that is very intricately carved. It's got what looks like maybe butterfly wings on it. It's inlaid in like both silver and gold. And she puts her hair up in it and she says, I need to talk to our benefactors. Something is not right. Go to dinner. I'll meet you there. I'll take the rolls. It's fine. I can drive.
That's why I love you, Miranda. You're always looking out for us. And then I walk out.
Somebody has to. We made a deal, you know. And she will go past the other two and she'll say, have a lovely dinner, and head towards the back of the property.
Okay. So I've got Elias, Stevie, Penelope heading out the front to dinner, and I've got Miranda heading out the back in search of.
I am going to find the archway that specifically opens up when I need it
Okay.
to let me talk to our Fey benefactors. And
You tell me where that is.
I think it's so we have an arbor towards the back of the property, and there's this trellis that is vines growing up around it. Um, it doesn't look like much. It's actually kind of run down a little bit now because it hasn't really been taken care of. Um, but she walks towards it. She sees a line of salt, sighs, that girl, and kicks it to the side. Um,
You feel a rush of warm breeze across your face as soon as your foot breaks that line.
and she'll straighten herself up, brush herself off, and she'll go, um, hello, I would really, really like to have a conversation if you could. Um, I think maybe there's something going on that you can give me some insight.
You feel more, you have more of a feeling of acceptance and acknowledgement than any sort of actual words.
Mm-hmm. She'll nod her head and she'll. Our family has run into a little bit of good fortune lately. Is this a boon?
You hear a voice, but it's not one voice. It is a chorus of voice, some speaking faster, some slower, some shouting, some screaming, some whispers. This is fortune's favor is a dance woven from light and shadow alike. What glitters bright today may cast the darkest shade tomorrow. What price have you paid, will you pay for this boon? What are you willing to give in return?
She kind of squares herself up and she says, I've already paid. I've already paid with my own brother's life. What else would you ask of us?
Was the sacrifice made willingly, or was it taken?
I didn't give him up willingly. That doesn't mean someone else in this family did. What could we sacrifice that would allow us to keep benefiting you? That's why we do this, right? To benefit you. My family may have lost contact with that, but I remember what my grandfather tasked me with.
Sacrifice need not be death. What secret or desire might you surrender to tip the scales?
That is something I shall have to think upon.
Time is a luxury you do not have.
I understand. However, a sacrifice given in haste is not as worthy as a sacrifice that is given through careful consideration.
If you do act rashly, make sure the cost does not outweigh the gain.
Darling, I am the perfect image of poise. I will find what is suitable for you.
Poise benefits those who walk the twilight path. Seek what is fitting, for we honor strength and grace alike. When you find it, the price will be clear, and the balance will be kept.
I understand. I do. And I am doing my best to make sure that the others pull their weight as well. These new projects, they're going to embolden us as well as you. You'll see. Just give us the chance. We can make us and you as great as grandfather did.
Very well. The threads of fate are delicate, yet not beyond repair. We shall watch. But know this. The balance you seek demands more than effort. Trust must continue to be earned, and time will continue to tell if you are worthy. The chance that you ask for is granted. But tread carefully, for the shadows watch as closely as the light. And you feel that presence withdraw from you.
Fuck. Okay. And she kind of steps back, shakes herself off, and I think you watch as the typical Miranda sort of takes over her body again, and she says, "Okay, well, off to dinner, I suppose." And she pulls the hairpin out, puts it into her purse, and strides off to find the car.
Okay. The nicer car has already left with the Penelope and Stevie and Elias inside of you. How's the ride to dinner? The three of you.
I believe I imagine it might be kind of quiet with Elias kind of yapping, trying to pretend that everything's as amazing as I think it is, or wanting everyone else to believe, or maybe even I'm trying to convince myself that I believe that too. Just, God, it's so nice to be together as a family. You know, we're finally normal. I mean, you got good news with that audition. You have your memoir. We have this new script from Grandpa. Like, tonight's, I think we deserve a good night out after so long of having bad day and bad press after bad piece of press.
Stevie is completely zoned out. She's looking out the window, not really paying attention.
Jazz, you're muted.
Okay.
Wasn't me this time.
As Elias is yapping away, I'm staring out of the window, just kind of watching the streets and like the city life pass us by as we're on our way, and I am not listening to anything that he is saying, like literally nothing, until I say, "Can you tell me again what happened to my father?"
Ooh, that would be. Hold on, I think that actually. Let me double check my sheet here. Yeah, I
Yes,
think
take a
that
look at your stuff.
that's. Yep. So if I have to. That's it's gonna mess with my curse. It's gonna mark me some more because I have to cover up.
me to think?
Well, it's just, it was a really crazy day, and there was this worker that she swore up and down that the set was. I'm not even looking at her. He's just kind of trying to muster some crocodile tears. I swore up and down that I checked the place myself, and I trusted the worker, but he said it was safe, and honestly, I tried to warn my brother, but he just went out there. He was, he was always big on the show must go on, but when he went out there, the light fell, and that was it. Okay, it wasn't like the movies, just no one shouted cut. It just kept rolling. I'm just glad we got rid of that footage, because man, if that got out, we would have never heard the end of it. It's a horrible accident. I kind of reel it back in at the end by weaving in truth mixed with this lie I'm convincing myself with. And I don't quite know if you believe it, but you believe I do feel remorse and grief. That part is true, but I did have to cover up and say that my brother was totally okay with going on the set, when in reality I imagine I had to convince him. It was more the other way around, but no one was there for that conversation. Excuse me?
So you were there?
Yeah, I was there. And, everyone was there. Miranda, Penelope was, Miranda was there, Penelope.
Stevie.
So was Stevie. That's all, Stevie was there. Oh, man, I got a computer update. Oh, okay. I'll try to stop.
That's okay. You all arrive at the restaurant after this super awkward family discussion, and step out. And you're met by the maitre d', who said, "Oh, yes, Mr. Rookwood, ladies, we have your table ready right this way."
Thank you.
You are led to a table that is set for 4. It seems like you've just gotten settled in when, Miranda, you arrive to find your table, your family seated at a table, perusing menus.
I'm seated across from Elias, so you have no choice but to sit next to me.
It's fine. Elias is a good poker face. Elias actually does also like you, by the way. Penelope. Elias is actually the only time I have awkward conversations with you is when it's about my brother.
I just don't like Stevie, so you have to sit next to her.
I don't think you like me either.
I don't really like any of you, to be honest. Not yet, at least.
It's kind of what I figured.
I still feel like the outsider here.
I bet I'd try to order it for everybody at the table.
You look up, and you've just been deciding that you're going to order for everybody and what you're about to order for everybody. And the waiter is approaching with a bottle of wine. And he goes, "Yes, as requested, Mr. Rookwood," and he begins to pour around the table. Have we decided on our mains?
I would imagine that along with this bottle of wine, and I probably imagine it's like a bottle of Japanese whiskey at this sushi place.
Yeah.
And let's get a flight of sake for Miranda. Yeah, I know you like Yeah, fancy. Hi. Yeah, I know you have good taste, so let's get you something going here. And I'd say let's get a couple rounds of the firecracker, and then maybe the Valentine. Yeah, I like those little heart-shaped rolls. Very sweet. You know, I'm like, we're in good spaces, so miso soup for everybody, and how about a little bit of gyoza, huh? You guys like gyoza? Maybe the steam buns? I'm feeling good.
I do like miso soup. Maybe we can get a platter, a little bit of everything.
Yeah, sashimi.
Hmm.
I
Oh
like
yeah,
the
I
way
like
you
sashimi.
think. Stevie, I like the way you think. Let's get some sashimi and one of those appetizer platters you guys have.
I'll
As
take
long
a
as, long as
salad,
it's not on the
please.
What was that,
no,
Jess?
okay.
I'll take a salad, please.
Oh, okay, sure. Salad.
Sure, sure.
I'm nervously uncomfortable that you ordered. It's fine.
Okay. The waiter bustles off with your order. A slight look of panic in his eyes, but he does shuffle back to the kitchen very quickly.
Elias, when did you order this wine?
Oh, I'm not sure when we got the whiskey. I must have called ahead. I know we don't come here very often, so yeah. I mean, it's just been such a crazy day. I can barely remember that script, and I swear I just went in and out. You know, it moved me.
But you don't remember it?
I'm kind of maybe I'm a little. No, it's the strangest thing, you know. Like I was reading it, and like all I can really call is that I couldn't put it down, and I got through the whole thing, and it just took me away to the movie itself. But it's the strangest thing. I couldn't remember it as soon as I read it. Must be a busy day. I'm just a little tired, you know. Went out late with Miranda. It's got to be it, right?
That sounds a lot of movies where when you're watching them, they're fun, but afterwards you can't really remember what the plot was. And
You
they
know,
seem to do well at the box
say
office.
90% of the times it's like that, but I don't know. It's like I kind of want to go back and read it again. There's something about it that just keeps making me want to. I feel like I have to do this. You know, like you ever get that feeling, like with your book, yeah, like.
Yeah. I'd also
So
like
you
to
didn't bring the
see this
manuscript
manuscript.
home?
That
What'd you
got
say?
jumbled. Say it again.
Yeah.
I just asked, you didn't bring the manuscript home? You left it in the archives? Why would you leave it there?
That's true.
Well, I left it with the head of the archives because it was Grandpa wrote it by hand. It was written on paper. Like I just wanted her to type it up. I mean, she did email it to me, so I guess we could probably go to the family computer and look at when we get back. But yeah, there's only one physical copy and the digital scanning, so I didn't. It's so old. I didn't want to damage it. It's the strangest thing. It was written on this like scroll, pretty much.
That sounds like all the more reason to bring it to the house.
Yeah, okay, I'll bring it in tomorrow. God, guys, just bring good news. Come on. I feel like I'm the only one who is happy right now.
We're happy. We just think it's a delicate thing that should be in safe hands in the house and not at the studio.
Trust me, the person that I handed it to would take a bullet for that entire archive before she let anyone into it. And she's just copying it over so we have a legible, not in old-timey cursive old man handwriting. I mean, you guys remember Grandpa? He could barely stand up straight at the end of every night.
I don't, actually.
I'm sure it's riddled of typos and it's sloppy handwriting, but I'll get you.
As long as you think it's
get
safe.
the copy and make sure that it's better. I think it's safe. Listen, you can't just walk into the archive vault. the entire lineage of Rookwood right there. It's
Hmm.
you know you need to have first you need to get through the guards, then you need a key, and then it needs to be even like a time of night that you can go in there. I mean, like we don't let people in there at night, even if you have the access during the day. It's pretty good.
I'm just surprised that no one found it before now. Like, how long has it been since your grandfather died?
It must be. She was just going through the archive and told me that she found it. He takes a sip of the whiskey as he says it. I'm not sure, like, if maybe I was in the wrong tin or something, or maybe he just had it in one of the older shelves, something that we never really even looked at before. It's just, okay, fine, we found it. We found it in. Listen, you're right. That's a little odd. I will admit, but I was telling Miranda that we found it in a little secret part of Studio 6. I kind of say that under my breath because it's the studio where the incident happened.
Studio 6. No wonder it wasn't found until now. I thought that was closed off and no one went into Studio 6.
Well, we do keep it up to code, so like every so often we do have to have somebody go in to make sure it's not about to cave in. I mean, we're still paying taxes on it. We might as well make sure it's standing. I know it's closed.
Standing and finding a secret part of the stage are two different things.
Sorry, I couldn't hear you.
You're good. I said going in and inspecting it for damages is different than finding a secret compartment with a script in it.
Listen, you're gonna have to take that up with them. I'm not. Don't shoot the messenger.
Well, they work for you, though.
My grandfather's?
Yeah, and I trust my team. Why am I getting the third degree here?
It just seems like a lot of odd things are happening, like in quick succession. It doesn't quite seem lucky.
Well, I heard that if you were used to a very shitty way of living, sometimes good things feel painful and uncomfortable. Maybe that's what's happening. Maybe we've been going through it for so long, we don't know what a good thing is when we see it. Don't look a gift horse in the mouth, guys. And
that's
you can tell
for
I'm
sure.
kind of just trying to convince myself this as well. I definitely, Elias totally believes that this is suspicious, but my back is up against a wall. In his head, he's picturing the ever rising stack of unopened bills that I have in my office. And it's, as comical as it sounds, it's like very stressful. And, Elias doesn't really know how much more of the family credit line we can extend. This music venture of mine's not working out. I might have to completely shut down that department and go back to the focus of movies. And seeing Grandpa's name on it, that's like finding gold in a river and starting to dig because you think there might be more.
How are things with you, Penelope? Did something happen today? Anything interesting happen?
No, I just got the studio cleared out and set up. Then I started working on some new art pieces. Actually, I did want to talk to you, Elias, about something. I got an email today about a art uh, inquiry. Somebody is wanting a canvas, some artwork from me, and they're asking for quite a bit of money, or they're asking me to do this for quite a bit of money. And I was just wondering if maybe you could like look over the email
How much?
before I even get my hopes up. It doesn't say yet. It just said discretionary, and it's ancestral artwork, which is right up my alley.
Sure, I'll take a look at it and make sure it's legit. But I, honestly, kid, if we don't sell this script, I don't. So if the stakeholders don't want this script, I don't know if we can. You know what? We'll find a way. We'll find a way. You know, I need to start believing that this family can actually be self-sustaining. I think. I don't want to just rush in and put everything in this movie. So if it's legit, we'll find a way.
Okay, yeah,
I know things
I'll
have been
I'll
tough.
forward you the email, and once you look at it, just let me know what you think.
Yeah, and listen, I know you see through my bullshit, but this isn't bullshit to you, and I think I want you to have this. But I want to make sure this isn't bullshit first. You get it?
Please,
Can you work with
yes,
me on
please.
that?
We
Thank
can
you.
we can agree on that.
Good. I'm glad we had this talk, Penelope.
All right. Is there anything else over dinner before we head back to the house for the evening?
Is Miranda not gonna join us?
Yes, I believe Miranda has already joined in at this point. My
Okay.
apologies if I didn't make that clear.
Oh, no.
All right.
Yeah, Miranda does. When she comes in, she's in a much better mood again. Um, and she's as she sits down, looks, she like pointedly looks at everyone else first, and then kind of gives Stevie just a very like small smile, and she says, "Well, so just so we understand, it appears that our recent bouts of good fortune are a boon of our benefactors, which means we need to work for them. They're not freely given. So
That's what I thought.
I am going to need all of you to really put effort into making this work. I know that you're all talented, and I think there's a lot of potential, but this is not something we can mess around with, because whatever they've given, they can indeed take away.
Do these boons come at a price? Are they asking us for something in return other
They
than just
always
working
come with a
hard?
price. There will be some sort of sacrifice along the way. I don't know what kind, but we'll figure it out as we get there.
What are you talking about?
Um, has no one? Oh, I forgot to. Okay. And she leans in very conspiratorially to make sure like no waiters are around or anything, and she says, "The secret to why we have as much as we do is because there are benefactors that have taken an interest in us that our grandfather made a deal with. These people don't like to be talked about much, and especially in very overt manners. but they are beings with extraordinary power, and they have gifted us some of their power. I am sure you have noticed something unusual you can do that other people cannot. Um, but they demand that we keep them empowered. And some of that is through our creativity and our contributions to art in general. Um, I guess to some degree, they feed off of it. I don't know the details. I just know that grandfather said that we had to keep them satisfied, or bad things will happen.
What kind of bad things?
I don't specifically know because we've done a pretty good job of keeping up. Um, but it's always been implied that
What do they want from us?
they want us to produce. They want us to be glamorous. They want us to imbue the essence of art in whatever way we can. It feeds them to some degree. The name, every bit of fame we gather as Rookwoods feeds them.
So I'm part of this just because of my father?
Yes, dear. We're all part of it. Well, almost all of us are part of it because of our blood. Some of us snuck in through the back door, but we're all entangled in it now. So we're all in it together.
I'm just as cursed as you. So
That's exactly what I was saying. It's been me so far that has made sure, since grandfather died, to communicate with them, talk to them, make sure that we're following along. And it has been a struggle ever since Reggie died. Um, he was absolutely the most talented of us all. But we're here and we have the potential, and they clearly think so. They've given us opportunities. So we really do need to put in the work.
I don't know what to say to that. Okay, I guess.
I mean, we don't have a choice, dear, unfortunately. But your art is fantastic, and you said you had good news. So all you have to do is keep producing, keep using your wonderful imagination, and things will go along perfectly fine.
My head is spinning. Like I am sitting at the table in 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 a state of shock that my body has never experienced before, just because these words are being said out loud, and I know that there's nothing. I like in my deep in my heart of hearts, I know that there's nothing that I can do about this, that I am just a part of it.
Anything else? Sorry, please go ahead.
Yeah, no, we have very busy days tomorrow. I think maybe it's a good time to go home and rest and approach the new day with all of our grand opportunities.
You all headed back home then? 1 second. Sorry, our ice machine is super loud. You all head back home, and as you step inside, the door clicking softly behind you, the house is unnervingly quiet, every sound seeming distant. On the polished table in the foyer, bathed in the fading light, sits a freshly delivered copy of a script. No note, no explanation, just a heavy stack of pages. Silent, of course, but unmistakably present. It feels less like a pile of paper and more like a challenge waiting to be answered. The story, now tangible and close, blurs the line between what's real and what's written. It waits there, patient, almost watching, and suddenly everything you thought that you knew feels fragile and uncertain. And let's go to end credits. We'll be back on the other side. Don't go anywhere.
And action!
On the spot.
We are back. Man, that was so much fun. I had a really good time. I'm going to change the super dramatic music now and play something a little more fun, maybe. Oh, man, what a fun session. I really, really like this game. I know that there's a rule that I missed earlier in the game. I promise I will refamiliarize myself with the rules after all of this. But awesome. I had an absolute blast. Let's talk about our stars and wishes. Maeve, will you kick us off, please, this evening?
I will. I think I got to get my star this week to Jess. Um, I feel like, I mean, like Miranda was obviously a big part of this episode, but I feel like Jess got to be this like um, the point of view character this time around, and I think that Penelope did, and I think Jess handled that really well. So
Yeah.
this episode felt like a little bit of like lore drop, and
Yeah.
She facilitated that really well, which are great role playing instincts. So
Very well done. I feel like this is a good place to mention as well, too, that this is Jess's first time doing anything, playing any game, any tabletop game, any make believe game, any make shit up a game. So let's say that Jess's instincts are spot on. I'm super excited to have you here. Maeve, what are your wishes, my friend?
My wishes are absolutely that we get to really start digging into the creepiness next time. That things really start unraveling soon.
Yeah.
Be careful what you ask for.
I need chances to use my weird curse.
Let's get weird. I will bear that in mind, friend. Thank you, Maeve. Jess, tell me your stars and wishes. Who was your star? What was your little moment where everything went, this was my favorite bit? And then for your wishes, what would you like to see next time we play?
I think my favorite bit was Elias's scrambling to and then only furthering the curse with because I was trying to pull out this lore so that Penelope knows more to work with. Um, it was fun to watch Elias squirm to come up with an answer on the fly like
Yep.
that, completely out of the blue.
Making people squirm is great.
It was a lot of fun, and I think my wishes, similar to what Maeve's wishes are. I am excited to, now that Penelope has this base knowledge of really what it is and what is going on and how this all integrates for her character. I'm excited to see where she goes with that and how weird it can get.
Yes, all the weirdness. You guys are really, really going to regret seeing this stuff. Just give me more to work with. I love it. Thank you, Jess. I appreciate you. Nida, my friend, please tell me your stars and wishes tonight.
I think my star was you, Lizzie. That opening work of art, like really well written. I enjoyed that very much. And I think
Thank you,
my
friend.
wishes are exactly what everyone else has said. Like I want to see the mechanics of the game in motion and just
We're
see.
ready for the creepy.
Yeah.
I love it. That's fantastic. Thank you so much, Nida. Finally, Zeph, tell me your stars and wishes tonight.
Me? I can
Yes,
hear
you. You're my last one.
Yeah, you just cut out. I'm sorry. Are you saying something to me?
I'm saying it's your turn for the stars and wishes.
That makes sense. It's the
Yeah,
last
yeah,
one.
that's what we're doing.
Yeah, so gotta love the technology. Yeah, my star tonight was that you guys all allowed Elias to be this delusional, toxic, positive person, and kind of let me be this little gremlin trying to pretend like I have any control over anything whatsoever. And then my wishes are the weird. I want more weird.
No.
Just to be honest. And because you left us on a cliffhanger, I won't give you the satisfaction of it being scripted.
I don't know if that was real. Like I'm pretty well known for some cliffhangers, and that one's pretty low on my hanging. It's pretty like, oh, the script's here.
I want to see you put more weird into like the little seeds I threw out there into the wind.
Yeah,
'Cause
I
can
threw
see
seeds as
your
well
brain
too.
ticking.
So I hope you all are watering those seeds I gave you as well.
Oh, I am.
So I will grow them
I
to carnivorous plants. Aw. Guys, thank you so much for playing in my little game tonight. We'll be back in a couple of weeks. Make sure you follow us so you can find out when, because you don't want to miss this, because we're going to get really creepy next session, apparently. So we're going to go have our little chats now, and I hope everybody has a great week. We'll see you soon. Okay. Bye, everyone.